Hey guys, it's Miriam and I am filming my first YouTube video today, and it is going to be about mental health. So it's a Mental Health Monday video, and in it I wanted to talk about a few topics involving mental health, and I think it's all part of what I want to do in breaking stigma and just making it more acceptable and easier for people to talk about their mental health issues, even if they're not super common ones. So I think the first thing I'm going to go into is school and mental health. So it really does shock me that there are so few resources available for people who are really struggling with their mental health. Not enough guidance counselors, long waiting lists to see anybody under the HSE or the NHS if you're in the UK. And I just think that stuff like that is kind of gone on a bit too long. And the older that we get, there's more pressure on everybody. Go hard, study, all of this kind of stuff, and people start to feel kind of suffocated by it. It's very intense being in your final years of secondary school or whatever it may be, and things start to get really hard for people. I've seen people that I know who are always been relatively happy, chill, carefree, suddenly be struck by bouts of anxiety, low mood, just feeling not themselves and really losing who they are over this time. The pressure is crazy, and it really takes away from people's physical health, their mental health, all things about them. And I definitely think, education is important. It's a blessing. We're so lucky to have it. But also, it's just a piece of paper when it comes down to when you compare it to the worth of your existence, if that makes sense. What's the use of an education if you're not alive to see it through? So that's kind of a big thing for me, and especially in my case, I can definitely say that is the case with me. I have always been a perfectionist. I've always cared about school, wanted to do well, and when mental health kind of really hit me, quite literally, I kept going, I kept pushing, and things just kept getting worse. And now I do not go. And I am in my final year. I have exams in 6 weeks or something. I should really know how long it is. But I have been studying at home for the last month or so. Well, more getting myself ready to study, because I was in a quite crisis place very recently. But now I'm trying to work on it, move forward and stuff, and a big part of that is no longer going to school for me, because it wasn't a place that was conducive for my mental health. It wasn't an environment where I was my happiest or my healthiest. It wasn't an environment where I could work on myself, and I needed to not be there anymore. And my mom agreed, which was a big shock, but I think she could see that if I kept going, I probably wouldn't really be alive. And now I'm just trying to do the best that I can do. And I do realize that I may not get the best grades or the marks that I necessarily want, but I also understand that there's not one way to do something now. I have to put my health first, prioritize myself, and get where I'm going that way. So it's not that I'm not smart, I don't feel that way, and I'm happy with a decision that I've made, even though it's not the easiest one or the most straightforward one. I just kind of have to accept that sometimes mental health doesn't necessarily mean that things are over for you, but it definitely means that sometimes you have to readjust your plans, realign your path, and stuff like that. So that was kind of the biggest adjustment for me, and I'm not going to go too much into the type of thoughts that I have, but definitely feeling like I'm a failure, or that, I have no future, which are really horrible, depressive thoughts. But these are things that I'm trying to work past, and hopefully I will. So it's really important to me to have these kind of conversations, and for there to be more resources, and for schools to play a primary role in breaking stigma. And I know that's something I keep saying, but I think it's such an important part of mental health, the normalization of this is an illness, just like anything else that anyone may have. You know, if you break your leg, people send you cards. If you have a panic attack, people think something's wrong with you, like, and not in a sympathetic way. Not that people who struggle with mental illness need sympathy, but there's a certain courtesy that we expect when we're physically ill, and people with mental health don't expect it and definitely do not get it. And one disorder particularly I want to focus on breaking the stigma around, wow, Miriam, speak English, is BPD, also known as borderline personality disorder or emotionally unstable personality disorder. Those names kind of cut, don't they? But it is actually my primary diagnosis, and I only found I had that recently because it's something that isn't really meant to be or isn't usually diagnosed until you are 18. So it's really been good and bad. It's really been a mix of an experience finding out that I have it. I mean, I definitely suspected it, but it's definitely different to have it be like, there it is, that is yours. Take it or leave it, I guess. Well, you can't really leave it, it's attached to me. But that was definitely a hard one, just because of nobody really knows what it is. If I said that to somebody, only God knows what they think. You know, I've heard people with BPD say that they've been confused with multiple personality disorder, which it's not called anymore, or bipolar disorder. And it just goes to show how little understanding there is towards the greater mental health community, and especially with BPD for me. I won't go too much into what BPD is. I want to do a video on that. If you want to see that, I think I'll leave a poll or something, and you can tell me if you'd like to see that. So I think I'll focus on the signs and symptoms, and maybe do a mental health story if anyone's interested in seeing that. Maybe I'll leave a poll for that as well. But I just think that people need to take more time to understand, and we need to have these conversations. And for me, I will definitely be open about my mental health. I am not ashamed. I refuse to let it be something that's shameful for me. I refuse to let my trauma that led to maybe my diagnosis be shameful, my scars from the self-harming as a result of having BPD be shameful, or even the experiences I've had as a result of being severely kind of taken down in life by the BPD. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. I just want everyone to feel like they can talk about it. I want nobody to feel shame. If you have your scars, you should definitely feel like you can wear them out. And I can do more on self-harm and being confident in your scars, and things to say to people who think it's appropriate to ask you about them, or even in the unlikely event that they genuinely do not know or understand or can comprehend what it is. But I hope you enjoyed my video, and I will be back again next week, hopefully with maybe another mental health related video or something else, because I want my channel to have loads of different variety. Thank you for watching. Do all that stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you.